This is my recap. Hello, I am KitsKitsJPEG. This art fight I was on Team Mystery. I managed to complete 11 drawings total. 10 attacks and 1 friendly fire. I even made my own thumbnails. Today I will be showing you the process. The first drawing I did was for user Boomerat of the character Steven, who is Inaga, my first and only friendly fire. To start, I usually have a 3D model that I use as base. I do my sketching and values on top to make coloring and rendering easier for later. I didn't end up utilizing the 3D model as much in this drawing because it was kind of OOC the way he was posed. I made the colors by laying photos on top that have the color scheme that I want and putting them on various overlay or multiply layers to get the colors I want. A lot of the process is just meticulous rendering, so it gets a little less interesting the more I get into it. I also really struggled with these hands here for some reason. I struggled for a little while actually. This character ended up having a lot of patterns that I forgot to include in the initial sketch, so I had to add them in post. You may also see that I am not that great at drawing greenery, which is a trend for this art fight. That is the final drawing. I do make a lot of color adjustments at the end to make it look good. Overall I worked on this drawing for 29 hours. The second drawing is for user Pancakes1102. I saw their character originally on Discord and it felt really compelled to draw for them. I actually didn't use a 3D model as a base for this, trying something new, the silhouette method, which is using a low capacity lasso tool to silhouette out the pose and other elements in the drawing, which I then render on top of. I thought this character was really cute and she has an element I really enjoy, which is Gap Moe. I was on Team Tragedy this year, so I really do love scary themes, but a lot of my attacks feature cuter characters, so I had to find some alternative in the Gap or by Angst. For the drawing, I wish I made her decor elements a little bigger. I feel like that would have made the cluttered look more clear, which was what I was going for. Now this drawing does feature a lot of the blood, that's where the gap comes in from her moe. It is blurred for the sake of me putting it on YouTube, but you can see the full drawing on my Artfight if you have an account. It really is a lot of blood, which I'm proud of. It looks good lol. I do also have a clean bloodless version which I can show you. Overall this drawing took me 28 hours and is very cute. This is a drawing I did for user Ferris Wheel. This was a revenge for a drawing they did for me. Firstly, their lore is that they are an alien who wanted to bring their friend to outer space to show them their spaceship, but their friend is human and could not survive in the vacuum of space. I love a little bit of angst, so this character was perfect for me. Many of their characters were, but I felt really drawn to this guy. I really wish I would have kept the side elements on this drawing. I feel like it ended up looking a little emptier than my initial sketch. But when you're in space you do not explode and you just sort of bloat, much to my dismay, but I could have bent reality a little for this piece. It would have made it look a little nicer. I also wish I used another 3D model for the pose here. I freehanded this perspective which I feel like isn't as good as it could been. Overall, I like the drawing very much and I'm proud of the rendering I did on it. In total, I spent around 17 hours on this and it is very blue. This is my 4th drawing for user Patriart. Now this I have to say is probably my favorite character that I've drawn this art fight. He just looks so sad and compelled me, so I had to draw him. Some more gap moe for my soul. He's just so cute looking, he kinda has a pathetic, vulnerable vibe that I was really endeared by. For this drawing, I utilized a lot of collage elements for the background, especially because I was really into it at the start of Art Fight. Overall, I would say this is probably my favorite drawing just because of how silly it is. This goblin just brings me joy. I love you, corporate goblin. I love you. Overall, this drawing took me about 7 hours and I cherished each and every second. This is from user Z3R00 who has a Homestuck OC that is partners with Carcat. Sell credits to Andrew Hussey as well, I guess. I've drawn a few times for this person over the course of my artified life, so now it's like an annual thing. So I'm drawing for them again. I switched back to using 3D models for this drawing because it had a bit of difficult perspective. I haven't been too into Homestuck since I left middle school, so it was nice to revisit it for this drawing. I always do a little bit of research when I can on characters I don't know or concepts in order to convey the characters as accurately as I can. The coloring on this one is a little experimental because of how Homestuck characters look. I didn't want to give Z3R00's character a skin tone since they're bright white, but I had a hard time depicting that, so I tried to make all of the colors very pastel and bright to convey it better. The drawing ended up being very cute. I really like the dynamic they have. It's just a lot of rendering. I added in this cute border last minute to fill the space as well. Overall, the drawing took me 30 hours and is definitely some of my cutest work. This next drawing I did for user Void Stand, which is a friend of mine. They have these two apocalyptic OCs, which are in love. I did some more photo bashing techniques alongside the 3D model at the start to get the composition right. I did watch the movie Obsession before I started this drawing, so I feel like the angst crept into the concept for this one. I wanted it to feel a little unsettling, as the lore of these characters is that they got together after Jade's squad was killed by zombies and they found each other later on, but I wanted it to have a wary feeling, especially because of the circumstances. I wanted her zombie lover to be a little more ready to risk it all for love. I put a little twilight blue filter on it at the end. Overall, this drawing took me 21 hours and I think it is very pretty as well. This character is for user Colossal, which is a friend of mine as well. This is unfortunately their old Sona that I drew. I would have drawn the newer version if I had realized it was there. The concept for this one is I just wanted him to own a farm in the woods because that's his whole thing. I really struggled with the colors on this one because I couldn't get the lighting to a place I wanted, but I figured it out eventually. This is again another instance where I had to draw a lot of foliage which I am not good at as Formantioned. Overall, this drawing took me 26 hours. I also had to change his face last minute because I made him look like the white girl's Merc meme. This is a character from user Alipaka. I believe this was originally Danganronpa OC, but I was really impressed with her design. I think her whole silhouette is very intriguing. This drawing went by very quickly. I feel like due to how useful the 3D model was. The only thing was I had to add a lot of clutter and details on top to make it feel like an unorganized room. Her concept is that she is a fashion model who has a hobby of making perfumes. I wanted her to just be laying there kind of coolly while she does her thing. Nothing really changes over the course of the drawing because I feel like the foundation was really good, so it's just more meticulous rendering. This drawing probably has my favorite coloring though. I felt like I was coloring a JoJo panel. The colors could be whatever I want lol. Overall the drawing took me 23 hours, a trend. This is a drawing I did for a user Mercury. I drew for them last year as well with Z3ROO. Another Homestuck OC, so credits to Andrew Hussey as well. I guess. This character dynamic was a bit more angsty as it said that Riska is a bad influence on Macy, but they're sort of dating while Riska's alive. I really liked this drawing when I made it. Another trip down that memory lane for the Homestuck stuff. The concept is pretty simple and maybe a bit of a cliche, but Riska has a questionable influence over Macy and is bug themed. How could I not? This drawing also banged on Tumblr, which I find really funny, probably just because it's Homestuck related lol. Overall the drawing took me allegedly 64 hours, but I don't know if that's right. I like it a lot.
Bang. Yes.
These are characters from User Mag. I drew this as a revenge for a drawing for me. This also marks my 10th drawing that I did for Art Fight, which was my goal. I tried a new technique when starting this drawing, trying to go off of a purely photo bashing, but I ended up using a 3D model anyway to get the right perspective. I really struggled with the colors on this one as well. I wanted it to have a sort of soft sunset golden lighting, but I felt like the characters were standing out as much, especially the harpy because he is also orange. I used a really soft brush for the majority of the rendering and I really like how it came out. I always make sure to check my values throughout the entirety of the drawing so that it looks interesting. In the end, I figured the drawing wasn't standing out as much because of it lacking contrast, especially in the shadows, so I added those towards the end. Overall, this took me 30 hours and I think it is very pretty. This character belongs to User Almanaces. This was also a revenge and marks my final drawing for Art Fight. The composition for this one was pretty simple. I just wanted her to look as cute as possible. I really love her flat eyes in comparison to her cute demeanor. #GapMoe I love. I actually did a lot of rendering for this while on a train because I was out with my family the day before the end of Art Fight. I got a lot of attacks during the last week of our fight, which was really surprising, and unfortunately that meant that I couldn't revenge them all in time. I really like how the character turned out. My only regret is that I didn't do enough with the background. I feel like the border sort of flattened out the composition and looks like a lot of empty space. Overall, the drawing took me 6 hours because I was in a rush to finish it, but it still looks good. And that was my Art Fight experience. I managed to keep my stats at least 50% and I made a lot of good art and felt like I improved from last year. I hope you enjoyed, I sure did. You may also be wondering, what's this drawing down here? Well, that's a drawing I did for my art profile in place of a text bio. I feel like a lot of people went with the collage style bio due to this tutorial posted by user AstralStar. It was my first time doing anything like this for my profile and I like it a lot. I was really into digital collage for the first bit of Art Fight, and I also did my team card in the same style as well as some of my character thumbnails. I will also say, as someone asked over at my TikTok about how I do my compositions, I make a mood board on Pinterest for similar concepts and try to make a drawing that conveys a specific mood. I always have in mind a story that I want the drawing to convey, which I feel like helps make the drawing process go by smoother because you have a clear concept in mind. Also, if you're interested, here are the brushes I used. I am an IPS paint user, so they're only useful for there. Okay, bye, thank you for watching. Meow. #GapMoe